As if I needed a reason to appreciate The Office anymore, BJ Novak has given us Vengeance. What's going on? Welcome to Victims and Villains, and yes, I am in my car. This is the channel where we educate and engage individuals like yourselves on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name is Capt Nostalgia. I am a writer, podcaster, and the director of our film festival called Horrific Hope. If you guys would like links to our social media, more podcasts, more movie reviews like this, more information about who we are, how to support us financially, and most importantly, our mental health resource library, along with also submitting your films and screenplays to our film festival. All of that can be found in the show notes below. And I'm not really too sure what I was expecting with Vengeance or BJ Novak coming in to do a writing, directing, and acting thing, but let's talk about it. So in this movie, Novak plays a journalist who's attempting to break out of the written domain of journalism and explode into the podcasting domain when he finds himself in a possible murder drug conspiracy after one of his one-night stands essentially dies, and he's convinced to solve her murder. First off, I just want to say that Novak as a writer on The Office was already really smart. He really knew how to write a strong episode, cringy episode. Scott's Tots will forever haunt my nightmares as one of the cringiest 20 minutes in television history. Every time I rewatch The Office, skip it. I have to say that the dialogue in Vengeance has to be some of the best dialogue I've seen in a movie in a long time. I mean, the script is incredibly intelligent, profound, and has such a smart commentary on not only where we are as a culture, but how we got here as a culture as well. And likewise, when you have a really good script, your chances are, if you place the right people in the roles to bring that dialogue to life, you're going to also have dynamic performances. And that hypothesis works for Vengeance. Not only is Novak a gifted writer on this movie, he makes an impressive debut as a director, but this is probably the best that he's ever been in any role, whether you're talking about The Office or anything else that he's ever done. This is a career best for him as an actor. Likewise, on the flip side of that, his supporting cast is also just as incredible. Boyd Holbrook is incredibly good in this, but probably the biggest surprise and probably the best screen time and use is Ashton Kutcher, of all people. Kutcher absolutely, I talk about Novak being at a career best. This also could be a career best for Kutcher. I know that a lot of people, if you grew up on That 70s Show, will always be Michael Kelso. Some of us know him from The Butterfly Effect and, of course, more recently in The Ranch. But these are the kind of roles that I want to see Kutcher play in more, because this shows that he's capable of doing dramatic roles. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that he's been in dramatic roles. I've just mentioned The Butterfly Effect, and that film to this date still impresses me. But there are moments in this movie that Kutcher actually gives me chills. The script as well, not only is it really smart and witty with its writing, but it's also heartfelt and hilarious. And it's this drama that's also wrapped up in this mystery. It has these thriller angles, and Novak just really blends a lot of awesome genres together to create a truly just wildly impressive debut. The film's pacing is just immaculate, like 100% so good. And if you've seen the movie, I hope you get that reference. This film never once drags or has like a moment where it's like lull, like the characters and the narrative story of this like podcast investigative journalism, everything keeps pushing it forward. And also, likewise, another thing that I think this film does really well is its character development. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the mental health section of this, but the character development, especially of Novak's character, is, again, to go back, one of the best that I've seen this year, and really demonstrates that Novak not only has an understanding of the craft of storytelling, but knows how to make it in a compelling, heartbreaking, and oddly hilarious mixture results. This movie surprised me in a lot of ways, and much like much like a lot of people, when I got into podcasting, I got into a lot of the true crime stuff and a lot of the investigative journalism stuff. I was hooked on Serial, and this movie demonstrates and dives into that with such a grace and a really potent commentary about not only, like I said, where we are as a country, but also our obsession with true crime and our obsession with the lives of others. So I'm going to go ahead and run this one through our Rorschach rating scale. This is easily a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I think that this movie could definitely be a 5 out of 5 on subsequent viewings, but walking out of the theater, this one impressed me so much. Like, I am genuinely surprised by how good this movie was. The performances are great. The pacing is wonderful. Just everything about this movie is brilliant. It is heartfelt, it is hilarious, it is captivating, it is riveting, it is just, again, to reiterate, one of the best dramas that you'll see this year, and could quite possibly end up being one of the best movies of the year. Well, let's talk about mental health. One of the biggest themes of this movie is never judging someone based solely on where they came from, the clothes that they wear, the music they listen to, the dreams that they have, because, well, it'll surprise you of who people really are. It's one of the most beautiful truths that this movie presents, and from someone that has been in music and podcasting and has been in churches and out of churches and in so many different people groups, I can tell you that some of the strongest relationships I have come from the most oddest of places. If you live in America, say what you will about the country. I'm not here to talk about politics. We are called a melting pot, and at the end of the day, that truth of the melting pot and the diversity that makes up this country is a truly awesome thing. Estimate or overlook someone simply for the clothes that they have, the tattoos that they have, the music they listen to, the movies they watch, because your rejection, it affects their mental health, bottom line. And you never know, sometimes by enveloping and befriending people like that, and just even stopping to listen, that's another big thing that this movie harks in on, is the truth of just listening. Power that it presents, it can do wonders for someone else's mental health. And right now we live in a time in our country where we need to value the mental health of not only ourselves but others. Back to the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated, because sometimes the best relationships that you'll ever have and the most impactful relationships will come from the places that you least suspect. Agent is now playing in theaters everywhere, and as always, if you or someone you know is watching this right now and you're struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please reach out. There are links in the show notes below, and I will be back in a day or so talking about Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Finally.